Hello, everybody, and welcome to ABM Answered, the quickfire demand generation and ABM video series, or at least that's what we aim for. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Vincent Plassard, who is the growth marketing lead at Userled. So yeah, Vincent, perhaps you could give a bit more about kind of your background. I know you've got like an entrepreneurial streak in you as well, and perhaps how your journey of how you ended up at Userled.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation, Sam. First of all, short background about me. So I've been in the B2B SaaS world for years now, in sales-led companies such as Pendesk, in product-led sales-led companies like Reveal, in the partnership ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
I've done work. I worked as a freelance myself for early-stage companies, and I'm now leading growth marketing at Userled, which is a platform that helps marketing teams sell to enterprise companies with more personalization across channels. So we are like at the early stage of our journey. Things are working pretty well, so exciting to share more about our journey as well.
Yeah, they might be early stage, but they're taking some big swings, and I saw them at the global ABM conference yesterday. So that's awesome to see. So I guess to run you, Vincent, quickly through the well, you know the rules, but to run the viewers again through the rules, Vincent in this case will be given a set of questions to respond to all about ABM and demand generation. The questions have come from or been adapted based on the headaches we originally collected at Mixed Reality Rooms, where 1,000 marketers had gone through and stated what their biggest challenges were. But in more recent episodes, we've started to incorporate previous guests' questions as well. So, Vincent,
Nice.
are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Problem one is knowing where to start. So, my question to you would be, when implementing an ABM or demand gen program, what's those first steps kind of look like? And I'll let you take that either way. What goals are important to align on? And a big thing that came out of the conference yesterday is pilot timelines, right?
Yeah,
What's a good pilot timeline for you?
yeah, that's very good question. So there's nothing easy, but that's the way I would approach it is, I guess, like lots of other teams, is to define your ICP, who's your target, what your target looks like, who's the buying committee you're gonna engage with, and really map this in depth, like really make in-depth research about your account, about the different persona, and really map this buying committee in the sense that you will create content for these accounts, but also for these buyer persona,
Mhm.
which means you're going to face champions, you're going to face decision makers, technical influencers, and users, and all of these, you need to really create content that will be valuable for them. And what takes ABM apart, I think, in the program is that your target accounts should be as well your partners. I think this is kind of people you want to involve in your content engine as well.
Mhm.
You want to create content with them. You want to involve, create relationships in a more like meaningful way. And so, of course, you're going to engage with them through different channels, but you want to get them on stage. If you create a physical event on a panel, you want to get them on stage. If you create like a webinar, a content series. So I think that's kind of the key piece of this, that you want to involve them in your strategy, and you want to bring different buyer persona. Either this is the champion, either this is the decision maker that will answer the questions of all your target accounts in a sense. So that's how I would approach it. Define your RCP, your buyer persona, who is your target accounts, involve them in your strategy,
Mhm.
and then like create that content series that would be more impactful and create more meaningful relationships with your accounts. And if we talk about pilot, of course, when we talk about ABM, things takes time. Um, so a pilot will usually be between 3 to 6 months to first create, like to make that research, create that content, involve these people, and so have a timeline where you can really create like a program which kind of resonates and which will be like a long-term strategy. So 3 to 6 months to start that pilot and 6 to 12 months to scale that program with the distribution part, with the repurposing part, and the objective is to involve more and more target accounts, bring different industries, different buyer persona, and kind of covers the whole spectrum of your target accounts journey, I would say.
Well, you smashed that as an answer. Also, that just go back to one of the first things you said about kind of co-creating assets or like
Yeah,
getting your partners up on stage. I realized that a bit too late. Like, I think I always thought case studies, quite important, and they are very important. But like the in-person play as well, and getting them to do the talking is actually. I saw it. I saw it again yesterday. There is
yeah,
a lot of big companies do it. Solid. So question two, problem two is finding innovative ways to break through the noise, preferably on a budget. So, Mike, it's a tricky one. I think
yeah.
everyone struggles with it. But are there any kind of creative ways you've managed to kind of capture attention from your target accounts and perhaps anything out of the ordinary that you've done?
Yeah, so that's definitely a tricky one. I think if you take like the landscape, you want to compare yourself to your competitors.
Mhm.
You want to make sure you are where your competitors are, and so kind of in a way copy what they are doing, but do it in a better way. But you also want to do what they are not doing, and so I think that's kind of where you can stand out, like identify the channels they are not, the channels that make sense that they are not leveraging. If there's any space that you can fill, and this is where you will really speed the growth, like speed the access to the target audience and provide value. But I also think that you should always think as you don't have resources, so that's kind of part of the question. But the more you grow, the more you think about like things with bigger budget. But I've myself worked in lots of early stage companies, and obviously we've been really creative and innovative because we didn't have like the resources of a mid market or enterprises. So I think that's kind of a big thing to keep in mind is that thing whenever you want to launch a initiative or project, think about you have no budget,
Mhm.
and think also about if you had an infinite budget and try to
Unlimited,
connect
yeah.
both. So for an example, ourselves, we went to a conference in September from a new partner, Six Sense. We didn't have a booth yet because it was a whole new partnership. But we wanted to go there because this is where all our customers were, our partners, opportunities,
Yeah.
prospects. So we had to think about innovative ways to stand out. And so we did things that everybody can do. We had like a backpack with LED on it. Then we had like little kind of business cards, scratch off cards with like a QR code behind. We created a simple landing page which was a contest to win parts of our solution. So kind of little things that you can do that is not like a big budget because what we were providing ourselves was part of our product, so kind of a free gift. It brought our target audience to experiment our product, but also to do it in a funny way with this scratch of cards. So that was simple things, but that was creative and connected them to our product. So it works pretty well.
That's awesome. That's the little kind of golden nuggets I'm after. Like the scratch off cards is genius, and I think just turning up where your customers are is super super important. Hence why I rocked up at this conference yesterday, and it's also what you said about the. Sorry, I'm conscious of time. We got to get going, but the think about it as like you've got unlimited budget on one end and the zero budget on the other. It's so because you that is like creativity meets efficiency, and
Yeah.
everyone knows it's kind of like a blend, but it's a great way to think about it. And it was also a previous guest question. She
Okay.
asked, "What would you do with unlimited budget?" But
Nice.
anyway, right, we're gonna have to go, or we don't have
Yeah.
to go, but I just want to get through. So, problem three is how do you stay top of mind? So this is the root pain here is like middle of the funnel jam, accounts are getting stuck. Obviously the market doesn't necessarily help, or it's been a tough year for marketers, but like
Mm.
how can go to market teams accelerate this kind of or unblock these accounts from the middle of the funnel and speed things up?
Yeah.
Any tricks or tips?
Yeah. So it all comes to nurturing, how we keep the momentum, how we get the accounts engaged with our brand. And I think that's a cross-team effort, meaning that your product evolves. Every product update should be like repurposed in the content that sales can then distribute to their accounts in a way that marketing can distribute across socials. So I think there's this product communication which needs to be repurposed in every way for the teams, but also every interactions is important whenever you sell to big accounts. And so if you sponsor an event, invite your opportunities. If you yourself host an event, invite your prospects and opportunities. So events is a big part as well of the nurturing part, I would say. Yeah.
No, that's just clicked. You don't need to host your own event, do you? It's
No,
like
you don't.
be a
You don't.
sponsor and then just pay or buy the ticket, or you probably get a few delegate tickets with the
Yeah.
sponsor package anyway.
And something of, and so it requires time and efforts and thinking, but something that clicked early in my career was this consultative selling part
Yeah.
that you're selling to people, but you're trying to help them solve a specific pain or help them in their journey. And so in this way, I have myself sales colleagues have done that, which is like, oh, I've just seen this popping up in my
Mm.
feed, a webinar for ABM leaders. We are not hosting it, but just thought it could be as well relevant. So it could be as well content that you haven't created yourself. You know, it could be like things you've seen on your feed,
Yeah.
but just it needs to be something that click and you share it like genuinely. I think that's something that I really value, like the genuine connections you create with prospects. Um, at the end of the day, you know, you're sharing things, sometimes not in a salesy way, but that's what will move the needle. So I think like you have this nurturing part, which is make sure the content update, product update is shared internally and is digestible for the teams. You have the events that should be a key part of creating these interactions, in-person human connections, and then everything that comes into your feed, which is finally your feed, you create it for you, and it
Mm.
like resonate for your audience because you're looking at the same thing at the end. So try to kind of share things generally as well
Yeah.
every time you see it. So there is some things that are not planned, but that works really well.
Yeah, talking of not planned, like that's kind of what you've said. It's one of the most things I've enjoyed about doing this. It's I didn't do this kind of record these content to make friends, but you end up like making friends, and like the people I caught up with yesterday, I was like, great, and it all kind of like it helps support the whole like kind of process. But then you obviously it's the distribution and turning up, as you say, that's important. We're going to jump to problem 4, which will be tracking and reporting ROI, Vincent. So, I mean, this is such a broad question. Like, attribution is just a problem, I think, for everyone because we could spend a whole day trying to track every single metric. But what's
Yeah.
important to you?
So I'm not a huge fan myself of attribution in a sense that, and even more when we talk about big accounts, there's so
Yeah.
much you do, so much effort you put in, so much interactions, touch points, and that it's always hard to attribute things. I think when it comes to reporting, you need to align on who you're engaging with, the target accounts, and you
Mm-hmm.
need to have like simple KPIs, which is for me like the pipeline sourced, pipeline influenced, the revenue generated, and then obviously like track every commission rates in between. But it needs to, in my sense, keep simple. So make it simple for all teams to go towards the same goal. Reporting dashboard should be accessible to every teams, should be communicated regularly, weekly meetings, you share metrics on a monthly or quarterly basis. You then just review if your recipe is evolving or how your metrics are going and what playbooks worked to apply this. So I would say like make it simple, like don't overthink your metrics, have data which is accessible and communicated regularly, and then review as well if they make sense or how you can move the needle on this regularly.
Sure. Problem 5 is getting people to your events. Huge challenge as well. You've been given all the difficult challenges this morning, but in your current role or in your previous role, do you leverage events in your campaigns? Like, do you even have experience talking about that to talk about this? And if you do, were there any like smart ways that you got people there? Because I know this is
Yeah.
also a question that's come in from previous guests like Erica Smith as well, and she's asked
Okay.
this. Cool.
Yeah. No, I mean, I will share from my point of view. So events has always been key part of our strategy, even in my previous experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say event, it's virtual and in person. And the way we've approached events and things that worked has always been to, as I mentioned before, like involved um, subject matter experts. So either it's your clients, either it's some of your prospects or opportunities, or either it's your partners, because this is those that will kind of create the content for you as well. They
Mm-hmm.
will answer the entity's questions and they will emphasize the distribution, which means you bring influencers. You mean you bring people that have the knowledge, so content is more valuable, and you bring people that have the network. So whenever it comes to distributing the events, you just like reach a broader audience. So I think that's kind of a key part of creating content during events, because events is like a content engine. Whenever you create in person or virtual events, it all comes from the content. And so whenever we say like events in campaigns, for me, events is more like a part of a whole strategy. So it's the best event that works on my end was content series. So I worked at a fintech. We had a community. We were planning events for a quarter or 2 quarter, and we bring them as a strategy, as a series. And this is how you emphasize the attendance and the impact of every single event. I worked at like a partnership solution. We created an academy. It was like virtual events with a panel, with experts, and so an academy with courses during like 1, 2 quarters. And so
Mm.
again, you need to think about it as a series. So what's the story you want to tell, and it just helps you like get more people on the second event, the third, the fourth, and like bring a better story to share.
Like a snowball effect, like
Yeah,
it'll roll big. um
exactly.
courses is interesting. Everyone loves badges, don't they? It's like,
Yeah,
congrats, you
that's
turned
true.
up, here is your digital badge.
Yeah,
Hey, whatever kind of works, I think. Last question on that, the what do you think of, because I'm like, well, I just, obviously not to get political and stuff, but I watched the election and they're bringing like these influencers on to talk about politics. And I'm like, you know nothing about politics, but you get it at events as well. It's like, hey, this is a B2B marketing event and we have
yeah,
Gordon Ramsay here or something. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that,
yeah. It's
if you have any?
yeah, tough one. I mean, I went to some conferences as well, and there was this more entertainment thing in between. I thought it was fun, but it never like people were never really excited about it as well. So
Yeah.
there's always this gap, and it's always hard, I think, to find the people that will make like the popular people that everyone loves. You don't necessarily know if your prospects, customers know the same thing as you. So it's a bit hard, I think. I mean, I like the entertainment things, like to bring entertainment in B2B
Yeah.
for sure. Like everyone says, like B2B doesn't have to be boring. But it's a tough one. I mean, I have no answers on this. I haven't neither experience, but I hope to be able to bring meaningful entertainment in a way.
Impact.
But I have I mean, no background yet.
We'll get there. The next question was from a previous guest, so I think this is question 6. Tiago Lucio. He is a
Hmm.
great guy. He lives in Germany. He is ex Contentful, Google, and Leapsum. Very smart, and he doesn't like to be pigeonholed into like specific roles. But he did have a good question, and it was with ABM. It's been around for a good like maybe decade or two now, but like it seems to really be kind of catching now. But he said every kind of ABM team, or like let's take your role at kind of like Userled, like any like kind of small company, the ABM team is like actually this might not be Userled, but like it might be one person, and it's like you are leading a full ABM. His question was interesting because it was like, what advice would you give to someone trying to start their career in ABM? So
Mm.
they're not really qualified to lead the charge anywhere, but they need to understand basic foundations to, do have some valuable impact. That was a really
Yeah.
long way of me saying it, but I will be quiet now.
Yeah. No. So to answer that question, I'm just gonna share like the really beginning of my career. I started
Sure.
in a sales-led company, a fintech. I was like owning lead generation, which was quite broad, but I was working directly with the sales. And I think that's kind of the what I want to share is that you need to be friend with sales. First things I've done in my onboarding, which was not my job, but was to prospect companies, even do cold call, which I was really shaking about at first because I didn't sign it, I didn't
Yeah,
sign for. But then I really realized what was the job of a sales. I really realized who we were talking with, who we were engaging, what was their job to be done, and so it kind of gave me the full spectrum. And later in my career. So I'm a growth marketer, but I work with sales on a daily basis. You need to understand what they do. You need to understand who you target, and it's not only by being behind your laptop, which I really love, but you need to understand. And so I would say like be friend with sales, spend time digging in your CRM. I really love this recording solutions that you have now. You can get like every call from your sales and see what's out the key takeaways, insights, and then like repurpose it for account specific content for your sales. But you need to understand their job, and I think that's the best way to really nail later on your ABM careers. Is that so we say account-based marketing, but it's like a account-based strategy, and it all comes to aligning on your recipe with your target accounts and how they what's their job to be done. And so now you can just yeah be a better ABM professional, I'll say.
for sure. I think that is so, so true. I had this conversation with Henry Clark. Every marketer should do some sales experience because it is the only way to understand why they get paid more than us because they do the job no one wants to do and it is
Hmm.
brutal. They deserve it. But
Yeah,
also it gives you like that empathy. I could not imagine trying to do marketing and be good at it if I didn't have a sales job
yeah. I
before.
mean, we all talk about sales and marketing alignment, but at some point, I think you should like just for a week or a day do
Yeah,
the job of a sales and the opposite, like a sales doing the job of a marketer. But if you don't have that vision, you can't just talk about sales and marketing alignment and try to or expect that something's going to change or be in
for
the right
sure.
direction.
Wow, I think you've just solved the age-old problem of sales and marketing alignment. Um, Final question, and it is from the great branding expert Eli Rubel, who is CEO of No Boring Design. No Boring Design designed like Exit Fives rebrand and RB2B. Um, and Eli is awesome, very creative. But
Nice.
his question was to do with more a personal thing. And you're I think, the perfect guest to ask this to because, as we've discussed, you have a bit of this entrepreneurial flair. You seem a bit like growth hacky, which is good. I love it, like scrappy sort of stuff. But he asked, like, what like keeps your fire lit, to be specific. So, like, what
Hmm.
drives you to I don't know, like get up in the morning? Maybe it's not work related at all, but like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think, I mean, I really love myself early stage for a reason is that you come at zero, I would say, and then
Yeah,
rise at 1, 10, and had the luck to experience that in my previous companies and really like being yeah, just seeing the impact of your work on a daily basis and doing it as a team. It's just yeah, what's exciting me. You're a small team, and then you become 10 times bigger with the same person. I think that's just what excites me. Yeah, it's quite simple, but yeah,
Yeah,
a bit.
I think. Well, no, I think that's good, and I think it maybe again similar to me, or I don't want to insult you by comparing you to me, but yeah, by any means. But yeah, I think if I'm in like a bigger company, and maybe I'm making myself chronically like unemployable here by saying this, I will kind of like switch off. Like I need to have maybe it's ADHD. I don't know. Maybe but like I need to be like having like some form of impact, or I just
Yeah,
kind
I mean,
of
I think if
drives me
tomorrow
insane.
I'm in a 5K employees company, if I'm with the same person we
Yeah.
were at the beginning, maybe it's exciting, or maybe I will find a role which is kind of satellite in the company. But if I can look back and see I've done that with the same team, that's kind of what I would be excited about.
Awesome. The Vincent, you have made it. The only thing I have left to say is, do you have a question for our next guest?
Yes, I thought about that one, and I have one which is, what's one thing you were doing early in your career and that you will not do anymore, and why?
Nice. We love that. We love mess ups. Good. I said it's a new spin. I haven't asked one like that. I think a lot of the questions are like kind of very positive, but yeah,
Yeah,
I'll get that included.
nice.
Vincent, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.